Hi everybody, it's Martin from the Washboard Resonators, and on this week's YouTube video, it's something you see a lot on the Facebook pages, the Resonator pages. People always ask this. They say, which of the two Resonator books should I buy? So on this video, I'll give you a little bit of information about each book, and then at the end there, I'll give you my recommendation of which one I think you need. So first up is the Bob Brozman book, which came out in 1993. And before this came out, there was really very little out there that would help somebody that was into these kind of instruments. Now, even talking about this and recommending this is difficult because Bob Brozman, in spite of being a great player and, you know, really one of the two main people to perpetuate the history, also, you know, ended his life in disgrace, and you know it's hard even doing this, but there's information here which I think we need to discuss. So the book starts out with information about the Dupira family coming from Slovakia, about the history of the company getting started, its very early origins. It even has a copy of some of the minutes of board meetings, and they give a great insight into what the thinking was behind this company getting started. There's also a breakdown of what the various instruments are. There are also some nice colour photographs in the middle of mainly engraved, very high-end nationals. I've found out since that basically that entire section is his collection, and there's probably an element of him sort of showing off the stuff he had in this book. So when I first got the book, I loved it. I read it twice in a row, and it really opened my eyes to the company national and what they're all about. There's a few things I find a bit annoying. I love Triolians, Duolians, Trojans, and he basically kind of skips over those kind of models, which is a bit of a shame really. But it is full of useful information. If you've watched some of our videos, we've already made the history of National, a beginner's guide to Nationals, comparing body types. In fact, I've made a playlist, I'll put it in the description below. A lot of those videos are helped with this book or the Mark Makin book. So if you do like those videos, go down, have a look, watch the playlist. While you're there, give us a subscribe, that's really good. In the description there should be a mailing list link, that's the most helpful. Yeah, help us out and give us a follow because that really, really helps us keep making these videos. So next up, the Mark Makin book, released in 2012. I got my copy in about 2018 as a birthday present. And I must admit, when I first got it, for about 1 minute, I was a bit disappointed because it's all graphics and not the kind of photographs of vintage instruments that I'm used to in my other guitar books. But I got over that very quickly when I read the introduction. When you discover that Mark is a graphic designer, and when you see the amount of tiny variants on the production line through the years, you realise that the only way to tell the story as comprehensively as this is, instead of using scrappy old photographs or photocopies of photos, is to turn the guitars and the variants into a graphic image that he can then replicate or tweak to tell you the full story. I do think at the start I couldn't comprehend the amount of information. I'd never seen a book like this, and to be honest, I've never seen a book since like this, as good as this. So what he does is he takes you from the start of the company through the models in a timeline. He shows you every variant that he had when he did this, and he takes you up through, so I've got a list here, the National and Dobra of the 1920s and 30s, Regal were involved in the company. Then they were shut down in about 42 for the Second World War. They reopened as Valco, making instruments under the National brand, the Supro brand, the Airline brand, Mosrite. And then later on, the brothers set up some other manufacturing concerns that became Dupira Originals, OMI. Again, we've got videos about the history of these. I'll pop a link below for you. Oh, there. But yeah, literally, the entire thing is here. So there are a couple of key things here. The first one is the serial number. Now, the Brozman book has a serial number list, which I think is about 1,200 serial numbers, perhaps. And I think Mark was largely responsible for compiling that list. Well, in my copy here, there's about 4,200 serial numbers. And I believe that the serial number is, I think it's up to maybe 6,000, 7,000. I think I can remember. I hope I'm right about that. By now, there's no better way of finding out the history of these instruments than this serial number list and the years made. In fact, every time I buy a new vintage National now, the first thing I do is check the serial number. In fact, let's do that now. So here is my 1934 Style O, and the serial number on it is S5272. Let's check it out. So here we are looking for 5272. There it is. Excellent. For me, the other main benefit of the book is the fact that every single page of every single catalogue is in there somewhere, and there's some really nice little bios of all the kind of musicians that use these to make music, and it really acts as a kind of oracle for all things fantastic to do with these instruments. So let's finish up. Which of these two books should you get? In my honest opinion, both. Now I know that might seem like a bit of a cop-out, but let me explain why. This has everything, and if you should get just one book, get the Mark Makin book. Now I know it's quite expensive in some terms if you think about it, because I think even now in 2021, it's about £75, which is probably, I don't know, maybe $90, and then the shipping. But you've got to remember, this is a self-employed graphic designer and guitar expert who has made this in his own time and spent perhaps some weeks, dozens of hours a week on the phone or answering letters and emails to put all this together. You know, give a brother a hand, give him some money for that work. Where this book is important is it is flawed, but the information to do with John Tapira and the minutes, and also the section where he does a bit of a bio on the main board members of the early company, really gives an insight into how the company was formed and how it worked. So thank you very much. My name is Martin and the band is the Washboard Resonators, and normally we're professional full-time musicians, but it's coronavirus, we're locked down, we can't go out. Good. So we're just making a weekly video trying to kind of share some information and help. If you want to help us in return, then first of all, have you got any of these books? Drop us a comment below, tell us what you like or don't like about it. If you were going to buy one of these books, after this video, tell us which one you buy. That'd be interesting to know. Yeah, subscribe, press the bell so you get the kind of notification every time we do a video. And just find us on the internet. It really helps. It was terrible.